Hello. I'm here. I need an audio and video check really quickly, please, if someone would let me know. And I'm going to try to figure out where everything is on my desktop here because I can't see the chat and the camera at the same time. You'd think I didn't know how to do this stuff. Hello, Trish. How are you? Hello, Laura K. How is life in South Africa right now, Trish? Is it as massively insane as it is here in the US? All right, so because this is public on YouTube, I just want to start out by saying to absolutely everyone in 2016 who told me I was being ridiculous and hyperbole and I was crazy because I said Trump was going to kill us all, please take a seat. Just take a seat, y'all, because he's trying to kill us, okay? I mean, he's just straight up trying to kill us now. Anyway, and vote Bernie, right? Get us out of this mess. Put an end to all of this. Anyway, that's it. Crafty 2010, thank you very much. I appreciate it. It's good on your side. That's awesome. Trish, that's good to hear. Thank you, Laura K. Very much appreciate it. Yeah, you guys are in lockdown. Yeah, we have an idiot governor, so we're like semi-lockdown. Basically, it's not lockdown. Most people, frankly, are doing it themselves here. I live in Florida, Trump's new home state. Unfortunately, there's no way to bar him. We would if we could. But yeah, we have an idiot for a governor. He's a racist piece of junk, and they cheated to get him in anyway, but can't stand him. And he's like, gun sales, gun shops, place that sell ammunition, they're open. Anyone who sells alcohol, they're open. What a combination, right? What a combination. Gee, people are kind of going a little crazy. They don't have any money. They can't feed themselves, their kids. They can't pay their bills. But let's keep alcohol and guns going. Yeah. What are they trying to have happen? Like they couldn't be more obvious. They just couldn't be more obvious. Like, I'm just over it. I'm done with it. I'm done with politically correct. I'm done with playing games with people who tell me to be quiet. Y'all, those people are the reason we are where we are right now. So, hello, is it Nashwa? Am I saying that correctly? Let me know. So, as you can see, this is the last thing we did. I did with anyone collaboratively making art. And this is all I've done in that period of time. This is all I've managed to do because I do not create when I am upset. And I know a lot of people, like when I'm depressed, basically. So I had to, which every single human being on this planet right now is trying to find a way to sort of come to terms with what's happening, right? To sort of process what's going on. And for me, process does not include being able to create. I literally sit and scroll Twitter and reply, or I, stare dazedly at the TV, not regular TV because I don't watch that junk, but like a Netflix movie or something. So I don't create really well. So it has taken me however long it's been now. I mean, it feels like it's been an eternity, but it's been 3 weeks, I think, 2 weeks. That's how long it took me to process my feelings on all of this and kind of get my head straight with what's happening. So now I can create again. But right now is no better time to say that life is very short and we should try our best to kind of get make them come to peace with what is going on and sort of face your mortality, because every single human being right now should be facing their mortality, because we could all just die. Not that you couldn't anyway, normally, but it's never been more obvious than it is right now. So, I hope that everyone can kind of, come through it and, find their way to accepting it. Now, maybe there are people that it just doesn't bother them at all. I'm not one of those people. It bothers me. Seeing people dying uselessly, needlessly bothers me. So let's see here. Your son is in upstate New York. He was in quarantine. Oh, goodness, on a cruise ship. Oh, holy crap. Yeah, I wouldn't go near a cruise ship normally, but I definitely wouldn't go near one right now. There's like a death sentence. It's like they're like the Hotel California on water, like you can get in, but they're not letting you back out. You're a healthcare profession or practitioner, so you are working with sick people. Yep. Yeah. When I see, people, when I see local governments making claims about how they're not going to allow EMS to bring a heart attack victim to the hospital if they don't feel like, they are can survive it. Like when they're doing that level of, war level triage for regular citizens, that's wrong. Like it couldn't be more wrong. It couldn't. Like I'm so sick of it. But anyway, this isn't supposed to be all about that. I will say that I was doing videos the first few days, and I probably would have kept doing them, but YouTube kept basically shutting them down and claiming that it was because they didn't have a human being who was doing it anymore. And I'm like, no, they were never doing it with a human being, at least not on my channel. So I really didn't understand it, and I got tired of arguing with them, so I just quit. But then the other day I opened it up and they were like, hey, if you want to do fun videos for people who are trying to, deal with quarantine, we'll help you. And I'm like, oh, now you will. But anyway, I didn't stop doing them for that. I stopped because I had to kind of get straight in my head with what was going on. But I am going to try to do more of them. Unfortunately, weirdly enough, in a quarantine, my time has become even more limited than it was before because there are a lot of people that need help. So physically, locally around where I'm at. So hello, Vicky. Nice to meet you. Nashua, that is correct. Okay, awesome. Laura K, you're having a difficult time. Yeah. Some, I once heard an artist who said that she can only create when she's happy. And I was like, that's really kind of, I thought that was superficial, right? When I heard her say that. And now, hindsight, I'm like, no, I kind of get that. I can make art when I'm not super happy, but when I'm depressed, no, I just can't. I don't have it in me. I'll pick it up. I'll start to do something. I'll hate it. I'll close it. I literally last night, this is the only other page that is done here. This was that request where they, you guys asked me to paint masks on people. And remember when I did this, and if you were watching that, I think it was a live stream. If you were watching it, remember when I said that a lot of the time my art is sort of prescient. I use stuff and I do things, and then later on it really sort of takes on meaning. So when I did this, I forget what, I think it was the art of the deal or something, color scheme. I forget what it was that I saw it and I put it, but now seeing what's happening and what's being done to people, the concept that they literally are playing poker or whatever with our lives, again, prescient, because at the time I did this, it wasn't they weren't saying they weren't going to bring people who have a heart attack into the hospital, that they were going to make a decision on whether you live or die based on some medics, some EMS guy. I mean, mind you, EMS people are wonderful, but I've met some real jerks who drive an ambulance, and the concept that those people are going to make life or death decisions is BS in my opinion. But then again, so is the push that was out there to, if you're old, just go ahead and kill yourself, just give up your ventilator because gosh, you're old and you're useless now. Like when I saw that stuff, that is like pure eugenics right there. That is just kill people off because you can't make money off of their labor. It's profit, murder for profit is what that is. And that was like, that's this, like that is what this is. So anyway, I gotta get off of it. But the reason I flipped to this was because yesterday, the entirety of the day, I was like, I'm gonna make art. All I managed to do was outline the letters here with white that weren't popping enough. That's all I managed to do. Like, it's terrible. I managed to draw this guy one day. And then a couple of days later, I added these 2 flowers. And then just today, I added all this extra color. So, like, it's just been Sophie. And we have a visitor, by the way, who, if she's really annoying, I'll try to get her out. But Sophie snuck into the studio. I kind of let her in. But she does this. She cries constantly when she's in here. So how is everyone else doing? Obviously, everyone now knows how I feel. But how are you guys coping? Is everyone coping all right? Sophie, she's so loud. Sophie, why are you so loud, Soph? I have a, what do you call these couches? A futon. I have a futon couch in the studio. And it has like a zipper part where you can, I guess it's so that you can remove the cover. And the zipper was unzipped, I guess, from when I was moving it in here. And so there was this big flap. Soph, do you want to go out, honey? Sophie, do you want to go out, baby? Sophie, you're so grumpy. And she gets up under there and I can't get her out. So I have to just deal with her. But let me see if I can get her to go out. I don't know if you guys can hear her, but she's really loud. All right, let's see if I can get her to go out the door. Hi, Christy. Come here, baby. What are you doing? Come here, Toph. Come on. Oh, you're so loud. Oh, Sophie. Come here, baby. Yes, all right. You go out, okay? All right. Go, Sophie. Okay, I put her out, but now she's up at the window. I have a pass-through window in here, so she'll probably cry there, but you won't be able to hear her as well, at least. You are anxious, but you're coping. Awesome, good. Hopefully you're practicing safe self-care as far as, like, you're wearing gloves, you're wearing a mask, spraying stuff down with soap and water before you bring it in, or at least, like at the front door. That's another thing that just like telling people not to buy masks, not to wear masks, and then finding out that it was all, they claim they didn't know that it was completely airborne, and just being around, near where someone was could kill you. Like, so irritating. And now people can't find masks, but you can make them. They have a no-sew tutorial online. They have sewing tutorials if you have a machine or you can sew, but they do have no-sew ones as well. My daughter happened to have a lot of friends over in China, and she was sent a little package of just a couple of masks. It's not like, a box of them or anything. So I do have a mask because of that, but it's not an N, whatever that is, an N95 mask. It's a cloth mask, but it does have a disposable little filter that slides into it. But I only have one. I only have the 2 filters that came in the package. That's it. So. Okay, one day at a time. You watch the news. You're in a small town in Wyoming. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, mainly just like stay home, you know? Like, I find it hilarious to see these people. And if you're one of these people, I'm sorry. I don't really know how to relate. But these people who are going online and complaining about their children and saying that, they don't, the teachers should be paid all this extra money because, you can't deal with your kids. And I'm like, dude, how can you not know how to parent your children? Like, you are not spending enough time being a parent if lockdown with your children feels like a hardship in any way. Um, like when I was a young mother, I couldn't stay at home because financially I had to work. And being able to be home with my daughter would have been like a good thing. Even if it was in the middle of a terrible time, it still would have been an awesome thing to have the opportunity to have done that. And there's so many people, especially like celebrities and stuff like that, who just like don't, clearly they don't parent their own children at all. And I think that is like an example of a systemic problem in our society when people don't know how to, can't even like manage their own kids because they have someone else who always does it for them. That's not good. That doesn't say a lot of good stuff about society. Anyway, I am using these markers because I didn't really want to fuss around with doing it with paint. And colored pencil just doesn't have the juicy kick to it as far as like the richness and the depth of color without spending. Oh, this one it's like a fine tip. I don't want to use that one. Without like going over it carefully, a lot. So instead, is this the one I was just using? I was supposed to be paying attention to which ones I was using. So I started to use a particular one and then realized that it didn't have a lot of ink. So now I'm just bouncing around between a handful of ones that I felt like they kind of worked with the color scheme that was going on with this piece. That one's not so attractive. I have to fix it. Okay. He goes to the store wearing mask and gloves. Good. Sprays with Lysol when he gets home. Yeah, yeah. You can also just use soap and water. Like just good old fashioned foamy soap is like so incredibly useful. It breaks down the fat because this virus has a fatty layer, and the soap just immediately cuts that fat. So soap is actually better than Lysol. It's better than hand sanitizer. It just needs to be foamy. If you have one of those dispensers that makes the foamy soap, like where it's pretty much just foam that you're getting out of it, that is awesome. I just took a spray bottle and put a lot of soap in it so that everything that comes out is soapy. And then from there, I can just rinse that off after. But you just get it really soapy first. If you'll notice in like China and stuff, they're actually going through and soaping the streets, and it's the foamy soap that is what is killing it. So foam, like actual suds are what really matters. And a lot of hand sanitizers just simply may not be able to cut it the way that soap does. Let's see. Hi, Laura C. How are you? Yeah, vinegar doesn't cut the fat, so keep in mind. Normally, I would recommend that because all of my fruits and vegetables, I do soak them in water and vinegar because it keeps them from going bad. It keeps them fresh longer because basically it kills like bacteria and stuff that's on the surface and bug eggs, really. But vinegar will not break down the fatty layer of this particular virus, so it is completely useless against it. I'm not saying you shouldn't clean your vegetables. Obviously, you should, but because of this virus, you should get them soapy first and then just rinse that off really well. There's so much misinformation out there. And there are so many people who are intellectually not curious, and that is a huge problem. People need to become like question every darn thing, and don't take anything for granted. Don't assume anything, and research everything you hear. Don't just believe stuff that you hear someone that maybe in the past you could trust them, but maybe double triple check it before you believe it, including me. Don't believe anything I say either. Go research it too. The dumbing down of society is what's going to kill us, I swear, more than anything else. And bad drivers. I live in a poor neighborhood, and I'm telling you, they're just like driving like, I don't know if they're driving so wild and crazy because they're like, yay, there's very few police on the streets and so they can get away with it, or if they're doing it because they're like really upset, it's a form of like coping or something. I don't know. Or maybe it's just they're just feeling wild and reckless because they're out of work, and there's no prospects for being able to go back to work right now. Not sure. They're kind of a brush pen. These are just the Pitt pens, the original Faber-Castell Pitt pens. They are an India ink, so they're not an alcohol. They're not going to show through on the other side. Not that they probably, well, actually they could. I did do something the other day that had some alcohol marker. It must have been, yeah, it was this. There's a tiny little, there's a tiny little spot here where that red was coming through because I was pressing a little too hard for a little too long. So even with these heavy file holders, they will come through, but these are India ink, so they won't. And these are like super old. I got these in an art trade with someone who wanted some of my art, and I was like, okay, well, what do you want to trade for it, right? Barter. You totally need to bring bartering back. But anyway, so this was a couple of years ago, so they're all getting kind of old now, but they're so much fun to use. So, and the pattern is just, if you just go on to Google and search tribal pattern, you'll find all kinds of examples of this. You're on day 25 of self-isolating. Your kids are grabbing groceries. Awesome. You rarely leave your apartment for mail and garbage. Yeah, be careful with mail as well. Be super, super careful, because depending on where your mail is coming from, the different people who have touched it, this virus can live on plastic and paper for days. It can live in a closed room for on some of these cruise ships, it's been alive for 17 days. And it's, I don't know if it's alive, but you know what I mean. Viable. It's viable after 17 days. So not opening mail is really important, and be very careful when you do. You should definitely be opening it like outside if you can, like on a patio or at the front door, and wearing gloves. And don't bring it in if you don't need it. Throw it away outside if you don't need to bring it in. And if you do need to bring something in, then if it can wait, leave it outside. If it absolutely can't wait, then if it's something you can wipe down, wipe it down. You just have to be super careful because it can live on anything. Like, it's no joke. The thing is hardy. Yeah, she's outside at the pass-through window, but she's still, it's because I'm talking and she hears Mama talking, and so she assumes Mama's talking to her. But obviously not. Anyway, I just people need to just stop ordering crap online if they can help it. I I know some people, that's how they, like it's their only way to get stuff, but we need to keep it to an absolute minimum, because every package you order is one person who has to package it, one person who has to process it, one person who has to deliver it. You know what I mean? Like, that's 3 people at risk because you're ordering stuff. And they can call, they can make these sort of claims that, package delivery people and grocery store clerks are essential, but frankly, they're just fodder. And they're at risk, at least especially in America, because they're not only are they not being given protective gear, but in a lot of cases, they're actually being told not to wear it because they don't want to frighten people. And like, really? Like, no, just no. So try not to order stuff that you don't need. Try not to go out that you don't need to, because that's less people that have to deal with you, which means less people that are subjected, which means you're not being a part of the problem with the situation. I picked this up again. It's just common sense, just like use common sense. I know why too. I like this color, and I have a brush one that's that color. Let me see if I can find it. And yes, I have way too many markers. Is this the sepia? No, that's darker. Bear with me while I dig through markers. Well, I might not have another one. Yeah, I can't find it. I used to have a sepia toned one, but maybe not. Let me look in here. I highly doubt it's in here. I would be shocked if it was in here. No. I didn't think so. All right, so no to this one, because that's the fine liner one. But I did pick up all of these, so this one's probably like extremely dark, but who cares? Anyway, I just want to fill this out down here just a little bit more, and then a little bit on her forehead, and I think I'll be done with this. And all I'm doing is just kind of trying to spread this color throughout, just so that it doesn't stand out so much. Hi, Sylvie. How are you? Trisha, I love cats too. One of my biggest fears is that I won't be able to get access to cat food, because I feed 2 different colonies of feral cats, and around 14. The numbers change as time goes on, and kitties, feral kitties move on, or something happens to them. But about 14 or so. And then I also have my own cats as well. And I have several rescues that I would adopt out, but they're finding an adopter for some of them would be impossible because they have an illness. So, but yeah, that's my biggest fear is that I won't be able to get cat food and won't be able to feed them. I'll figure out how to make cat food or something. Can't grow it, but I don't know. I don't know what I would do. I would have to let them free and just let them, fend for themselves, I guess, if I couldn't get it, but it would break my heart to not be able to care for them. All right, and then I brought this color in, and so now I have to move it around a little bit. All right. I think that's enough patterning on her. You're doing good so far in Montreal. Awesome. Excellent. That is fantastic. It is good to hear. Okay, I'm done with these. And, I'm not done with them. I need to outline this really quickly. I don't even remember what this was from now. It was something, I think it might be a book I'm listening to right now called Manufacturing Consent, but I don't know for sure. Has anyone watched, and I know it's been out for a long time, I'm just late to the party because I didn't want to watch it based on the name of the show. It's called Money Heist. Has anyone watched that? It's on Netflix. I wasn't into it because I don't usually get into that type of stuff, of content, but my daughter convinced me to start watching it, and oh my goodness, it is so hilariously funny. And the new season drops today, I believe, so that is what I will be doing this evening after I complete the grocery run. I have to do a gas run for, I'm not doing it today, but I have to do that for the lawnmower, then so we can mow the lawn. Something else I have to do, I can't remember. Anyway, but tonight I'm going to be watching the new season of Money Heist. I also am in the middle of watching something called Lock and Key. Has anyone seen that? It's so good too. Super good. Unfortunately, I've watched all of, let's see, last year I watched all of Star Trek. Every Star Trek episode of any version of it I could get a hold of. And then this year I watched, oh my gosh, I can't even remember what the names of them all are, but basically every other type of show, like Stargate, Andromeda. The only one I haven't watched all of is Battlestar Galactica because the most recent one, it got kind of like darn it, what's it called? Soap opera-ish instead of being like interesting. So I haven't watched that one. I probably will. But unfortunately, like, I'm all out of sci-fi shows to watch. So I'm going to go back to listening to books again. Let's see here. Sylvie, you've watched, you saw Money Heist. Have you watched the new season that just dropped? It just dropped today, I believe, at least here in the U.S. Laura C., you love Money Heist. Yeah, it's awesome, isn't it? And you love Lock and Key. I'm only on like episode 3 of Lock and Key. Anne with an E. Yeah, like, that would be the last thing I would watch. I know it sounds terrible, but like it is just not my thing. Anyway. Okay, so I have no idea what else I want to do here. This was supposed to be a character of Hicks. Chris Hicks, is that right? I think that's his name. He was a comedian that died from cancer, and he was very anti-establishment, shall we say. Not the nicest person or anything, but some of his anti-establishment views I highly, highly agree with. So that was why I drew him, and the whole purpose was a piece that he did where he said that life, all of it, was all just a ride. None of it is, like real. That's what this was supposed to be about, and I clearly covered that up, so I'm going to put the text back on here. I'll fix that and make it look fun and interesting later when it's dry. Same thing with this one. I'll probably do something with it. Oh, you went back to reading the original Dune books. Yeah. Yeah, I've read, I think I read 2 of them or 3 of them. So, already. I think I read those last year. So there's like, again, I'm like out of everything. I've already read The Wheel of Time, all, however many books it was, 13 books. I think I've read it all twice now, so like I don't really want to read that again. Like I said, right now I'm reading more political related stuff, but that stuff, I can only read like a certain amount of that at a time, and then I have to break and find something that's a little less political, a little less brain strain. I just finished reading a whole book about propaganda. So, which ones of the Dunes books? I have no idea. Where is my phone? I also didn't read them all on one account, so hold on. I hate the new Audible app. Dear Audible, please stop changing it. Dune. Okay, so the first one was the actual like Dune book, 21 hours long. I don't know if that encompasses more or just one. And then, like I said, I didn't read them all on my account. So let me go to... Oh, wait. I can't lose that bookmark. I need that bookmark. How do I get out of there again? Stop. That's my bookmark for vegan chicken and dumplings. And I've lost it like 3 times now. Dune Legends. Hang on. Is there just like a list of books? Hang on. Oh, here we go. Book series. Ooh, I thought it was going to show me. I don't like looking at them like this. I can't always tell which ones I've read here. I don't know. Maybe I thought I read like 3 of them. But none of these pictures make any sense to me. So I'd have to go log into the other account. I don't know which ones. I picked a couple of them, and I tend to read in order, so they're probably the first 3. Other than Dune itself. But I really didn't like Dune. I know a lot of people like were like, pushing me to read it, and then I read it and I was like, I don't really like it. But I might go back and read the rest of them at a later date. You're searching for a free version of Audible Wheel of Time. I don't think there is such a thing because those books are definitely still in publication. Amazon, they've had to stop production, obviously, but Amazon is producing a television show based on it, and it looks like it's going to be good. But I haven't seen anything where they're out there in the public domain. Doesn't mean that doesn't exist, but Anne McCaffrey's Dragon series. I don't know what that series is. I don't think I've read any. Well, White Dragon sounds familiar, but you know how many probably do that? I don't think I have read any of these. The Skies of Pern. Yeah, I don't think so. So I'll keep that search there so I can look at it later. I don't think I've read any of those. Well, you could definitely get them through the library. I don't know why you wouldn't be able to get them through the library. I did read that, Sylvia, that you should not read the ones that were by his son and the other two. And that I did read. It might even have been you who told me, not to start with those. But I read on two different Audible accounts, so I'll have to go look on the other account to see because what happens is like, my mom doesn't use like near as many of her credits as she buys, so she'll read whatever I tell her to get. So I'll just go onto her account and download books for her, buy books for her to use her credits. So I tend to read them, but anyway. Don't tell Audible. No, I could care less. They're owned by Amazon. They can keep their money or keep their books at this point. I'm so done with corporations and capitalism. It's killing people. All right, so I was looking for collage. So let me find a collage folder to pick through. Here we go. This is the most recent one. Yeah, this one was that image that we were looking at. Super dystopian image too. I'm definitely going to be using this for something. And the best way to do that is to just glue it down, and then I will be forced to use it. So let's see. This is an awesome train. There's like a train running through here. Looks like some kind of a grain. What do they call those? Where they have grain and stuff. Looks like that's right there. Where is my glue stick? Okay, just glue stick this puppy in there, and then that way I'll be forced to use it. Life is too short to be precious about stuff. People, use your collage stuff. Don't save it for the perfect time or a better day or a better page. Just use it. Same thing with supplies. Your family is not going to want your supplies if something happens to you anyway. They're just probably gonna like donate it or something, so you might as well use it. Who and what and when are you saving it for? My secret is safe. Yeah, I could care less. I'm absolutely 100% positive they know anyway, because I switch in and out of the accounts on my phone, on my Audible app all the time. So whatever. Hi, Linda C. How are you? All right, might as well play with this for at least a minute. The glare is killing my eyes, though. I just want to follow this to a sort of, who knows what I would end up doing with this, doesn't really matter. This is like some kind, I don't know for sure what it is, but it's like a giant grain silo or something. I don't know, I think I'll just let it kind of go, like fade out or whatnot there. And then here we have the train tracks. You're doing very good. Awesome. Hello, Layla. You're about to teach school. Awesome. Are you teaching for more than just yours? Are you doing like, I don't know, like video conferencing, or just for your kids? Took the dogs for a walk. You have decent weather. Yeah. We have absolutely beautiful weather here. It's going to get back up to 90 by next week, but it is gorgeous right now. I did a bunch of yard work this morning. Good. You're welcome. I'm glad you're inspired to use collage. Also try to think about about pushing yourself, your, mental limitations, so to speak, and doing more with it than just collage, right? So incorporating it into something, push it further, push harder, do something different. All right, I really kind of just want a couple of things before I settle for adding paint to this. I'm going to flip and open this from the back to try to maybe push myself to look not from the front, if you know what I'm saying. Did that make any sense? Not really. Whatever. I'm trying to push myself to not just finish this. I want to try to incorporate at least one other thing. This is going to get cut. Every one of these is going to get cut out. Guaranteed. I already know it. Same thing for the these right here. I'm going to cut all of these out. I just know I am, because I think they're awesome. I like the collections of things. I'm not a collector, but I like the collections of things. That's okay. You're welcome. I didn't even notice it anyway. Just for your youngest son. Yeah, your two oldest have graduated. Yeah, high school for one. I was just thinking, like, this is something that you've done now with 3 kids. So I could totally see you hooking up, like a camera and teaching, putting it out like on YouTube just for anyone. You know what I mean? Like, because you've done this successfully already with 2 other kids. Anyway, just saying. I just was like thinking, like maybe a homeschooling group could benefit from all of your successful homeschooling already that you've done with your own children. What are these? They're super cool. Other crafters covered brick door stops. Okay, dude, so this is a door stop, and they've covered it with needlepoint or knitting. Some of them says knitter, some of it says wool crafter. Dude, this is from Scotland. I literally have never seen a brick covered like this as a doorstop. That is really awesome, isn't it? I'm going to cut these out and add these to my page. I know they're not dystopian at all, which is fine. I I often can't remember why I even saved a particular thing. I have to like look at it like a bunch of different times trying to figure out why I saved it. I might just end up going with just that one. I don't want anything overly cutesy, like my normal cutesy stuff that I would normally collect from here. And that's what a lot of this is. Normally this stuff I would be like loving, but I want something, I don't know, different. I need to get out of my typical comfort zone. Yeah, all right, I'm done. I'm done flipping. I'm not in the mood for it today. Okay, so let's cut these out. Oh, you guys, all of you know who Titan is, right? Or most of you do anyway. Titan shows up here the other day with a collar on. A collar that is not a quick release collar. And it's one of those horrible flea collars that is filled with poison. And it will not release if it gets caught on something. And I have so far unsuccessfully have not been able to get it off of him. He gets very upset when I try to touch him or touch it. I don't know who he, whose house he has been hanging out at that he likes well enough to let them put that thing on his neck. But his third, his second, what do you call it? It's like an inner eyelid. Anyway, on both of his eyes, his inner eyelids are showing, which means he's ill, or not feeling well. And I think that flea collar could be poisoning him. I'm so pissed about it. So every day I get my little red handled scissors, my Tim Holtz scissors, and I try to cut it. I only get like one chance before he swats at me. But I've tried several times now to cut it off of him. I really would like to know who that person was so that I could have a discussion with them about how an animal who is feral should absolutely never have a collar on them. And if you're going to do that, which is stupid, but if you're going to do it, at least do a breakaway collar that will release if it gets tight around his neck. But mostly I would just like to find that person and give them a piece of my mind and make them take that thing off of my cat's neck. But I will get it off eventually. I might end up having some wounds inflicted by Titan, but I'm determined. I got a hold of it yesterday, but he snatched his head away, and then I could tell he was going to run, and that meant he wasn't going to eat. So I went ahead and backed off, but I'm determined today I'm not backing off. He can go without a meal, which is a better outcome than it getting caught on something and taking his life. So I'm so angry about that right now. I'm really, I think it's great that someone obviously out there loves Crazy Titan enough to want to protect him, from fleas, but that collar is a horrible thing. And not only that, but they're filled with poison. They don't do crap. And with his other eyelids showing, it tells me he's not feeling good. Because that's a sure sign that they're not feeling well, is when you start to see that like filmy extra eyelid there. So really frustrated. And there's a lot of new people moving into the neighborhood, like super new. There's like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I have 5 new neighbors. So I have no idea where, who this person could be. There's no way to follow him. He's so feisty that he'll go a different way every time he leaves because he doesn't want any boy cats to follow him. So he's very tricky, and if he sees me trying to watch where he goes, he'll just stop and sit down, and he'll be sitting there for like an hour. And I have other things to do with my life, so I've never been able to figure out where it is he's going to. But if I ever figure it out, they're going to get a piece of my mind, a piece of Mama's mind. Well, I don't, not entirely sure. I love these things. Like, this is the coolest idea ever. I have to try this. I have one door that does not stay open, and I use just a door stop that just kind of goes over the under the door. But these would be super neat. I could totally see making these. Let's see. Oh, are there a ton of free homeschool resources, Layla? I'm so out of the loop. It's been so long since I've had little ones. Um, my mind went blank. Logan is 3 years old, 3.5, and he can read. That's, like, so and you can't attribute any of that to me. That's all him and Maddie. Maddie is so smart. She's in the 1st grade, and she reads on a 4th and 5th grade reading level. And she's already taught her brother how to read. He can't read like full books or anything, but he can he can see letters and put them together in his head, and then sound out the word. And he's only 3, so that's all on their parents and Maddie herself being a teacher. Yeah, poor Titan is right. Yeah, it is horrible. Darlene, yes and no. You have to be super smart. You have to know cats, and you have to kind of let them tell you what you can and can't do. I have never been bitten directly by a cat. Most cats are not likely to bite you. Most cats are likely to scratch you. Now, a deep scratch from a feral cat would be a huge concern, and you would need to get an antibiotic shot right away. I've only ever had surface scratches. I'm very patient, and I don't know, I just kind of let them decide most of the time how they want to react to me. Most true feral cats are not coming anywhere near you. No, they're not. Stray cats who've been abandoned or tossed out, or cats like Titan who are crazy and cannot be inside of a house, they're more risky because they are comfortable to a degree with people, so they may very well attempt to interact with you. And there was one that was really super friendly with my mom, and my mom was sitting there, and it came up and wanted to be have her pet it, and so she was petting it, and then it jumped in her lap. And she was unsure of what to do. She just kind of, sat there, and she went to pet him again, and he tried to attack her. But all he did was try to scratch her and then jump down and run away. And it was more about the other cats, the other feral cats that had gotten too close than it was about him, being upset with her. But mostly, no. Most true feral cats won't come anywhere near a human being. They're not domesticated. They're not interested in you in that way, as companionship or anything. They just want the free food, which I don't blame them. But a stray that's been abused or something like that is going to be far more, risky as far as trying to scratch you or something. I don't ever approach cats that I don't know anyway. Most of the time, what ends up happening is someone abandons a cat in the neighborhood, and then eventually it wanders its way mostly because I feed very regularly, it will end up here at a feeding time, in which case then it's like, hi kitty, let's be friends, because as soon as I get my hands on you, you're getting fixed. If it's an already fixed cat, then I will just feed it and it's fine. But if it's not fixed, then it's getting fixed. That's the goal. And right now it's really upsetting because I can't fix any of them because obviously we're in lockdown. And like right now I have a unfixed male cat. I want to say I'm going to guess he's about a year old from the looks of him, somewhere between 6 months and a year. He's beautiful. He's all black. And he just showed up here last week. And there's nothing I can do to get him fixed right now. But his days are numbered as soon as I can fix him again because he's getting snippied. Getting them fixed saves their lives. It keeps them from making more babies, and in general just reduces like fighting and nuisance behavior, because they're not as inclined to. Cats are like, if they're well fed and they're fixed, cats are just like lay about babies, you know what I mean? It's only when they're not fixed and thus they have all that hormone drive to go procreate. That's when they're a nuisance. That's when they irritate people, and that's when they make a bunch of unwanted babies. So, but yeah, I don't usually interact with a feral cat just because they're not going to come anywhere near me. And if a stray sort of cat comes up, then I'm extremely cautious, just until, I kind of get to know it. But to be honest with you, I can tell you a lot about a cat based on how my regular ferals respond to that cat. My regular ferals are extremely good about policing who shows up at their feeding area. So if I go up to a feeding station and there's a strange cat there and my other cats are just laying there, like the other ferals that I know, they're just kind of like chilling out, then I know that they more than likely either know that other cat or don't consider it a threat. If my cats are like staying away from that cat or they're acting like they're upset, then I know there might be an issue, and then I'm extremely careful. Thank you. Yeah, I got into it because, like most people do, I started feeding a stray cat that came around in my yard. I felt bad for him. I started feeding him. And then the next thing I knew, he brought a girl cat with him. And then she had babies. And I'm like, holy crap. So my daughter was like, you need to do something about that. And that was when I started learning about TNR and ferals. And that was how I eventually ended up feeding different colonies of cats to try to help them and, ultimately to get them fixed so they would not make more babies. Live stream on the door stopper. Yeah, dude, this is like really cool. And I don't think I would cover it with embroidery work because I would have to do embroidery work, but I could totally see crocheting or knitting a cover for a brick. That would be really fun. Definitely. I have to keep an eye on the time. Yeah, I'm doing okay. Just because I have commitments I have to meet today outside of doing art. All right, so I'm going to throw some color on this, and I think I'm going to do acrylics. I know I actually have my gouache right here, but I kind of want to put acrylics down so that they won't lift up later. I can work over them. So I'm going to start with, let's do pavement, my favorite. My favorite color is pavement. Oh, it's true though. Yeah, but let's start with pavement first, and I'm just going to, wish I had a better flat. Oh, here's a good one. All right, so let's see how this looks here. It's so hard for even me to tell because of magazine page glares. It probably would need a little red in it, but this will be good enough. And I probably need to check what this constant messaging is on my phone. Hold on, just to make sure someone in the neighborhood is not asking me for assistance with something. Nope. Nope. All right. It's just Twitter. It's not an important message anyway. All right, and I just realized I need something to keep me from painting the entire rest of this book with all the edges being pavement colored. I don't know. The other thing I'm having difficulty with is finding flour. Why is it so hard to find flour? My daughter said that she shops at a different store, and she said that she believes they have flour. So I told her the next time that they go there to see if they really have it. But I cannot get flour anywhere. It's driving me insane. And I can't get bread half the time. Like, you can only get bread in the mornings. And I only want to go to the store that will bring the stuff out to me. So I don't want to go into the store that I have to go inside. So, like, I haven't had bread in probably at least a week, other than, you know, making my own French bread and then making my own flatbread. And I'm down to only enough flour to make flatbread probably one more time, and then I won't have enough flour, and I'm so irritated about it. It's just like, for me, as much as I know that bread is not necessarily all that good for me, I have to have bread. It's like my happy place, you know? It's not even a hobby for me. It literally, I mostly just bake my own French bread, and I have for a long time, because it's really difficult to find good French bread that they haven't done something stupid like wipe the top of it with egg white. Like, literally the whole bread is vegan, but they, at the very end, to make it have that like nice browning, slightly shiny effect, they'll put egg white on it. And I'm like, really? You ruined the whole loaf of bread for me for that. So that's the reason why I mostly bake my own French bread. But it's really frustrating that I can't get flour when, you know, my options are limited because of, again, like I said, the ignorant use of animal products in everything. And then I can put in some, I think I'm going to use, let's find this color. My paints are organized by color, but I still can't find anything. Anyway, I'm going to use this Tuscan red, I think, for the train little bits that are there still. The only drawback to using these file folders to make this journal was the choice that I made to not cut the edges, and so thus I have to constantly put something in there or all the edges are going to get painted. Although I'm starting to think maybe I should just stop protecting it and just let it happen and not care. Do you know what I mean? Like, see what it, just like see what it looks like in the end when it's all said and done. I haven't quite reached that point yet, but I'm thinking about it. Definitely thinking about it. Yeah, this pavement is almost empty. So close. I have a brand new one. Been itching to move on and get to it, but obviously I'm going to use up all of this first. And I think I am going to go ahead and extend it out, or, you know, all the way across. So extend it to, I think, about here. Darn it, I keep picking it up. It's annoying. Yes, grinding oatmeal. My mom just did that. She has some rice flour, and I have like coconut flour, but coconut flour, in my opinion, is only good for sweets. I don't like to try to make anything with it that's not going to be sweet. And the rice flour, I don't have any of it. I bought some for my mom, but it was in a kind of a smallish package. That was all I could find locally. And this was back before COVID even happened, or was a thing, I guess you would say. So I haven't tried to bake with it. She has, and then she's also got cornmeal, which I'm like super jealous about. Because she had that for some other recipe. I don't even have any of that. Like, I literally have a cup and a half left of flour, and then that's it. Other than, like I said, that coconut flour, which meh. I would like pea flour or hemp flour, something, anything. Yeah, Mandy. Hi, Mandy. Yeah, I'm only if only curbside, because I don't want to put anyone who is being forced to work right now into any more danger than absolutely possible. And going inside of that store, if I was to have it, you know, somehow for some reason, I would just be putting their lives at risk. And I just think that that's just not something we should do. I know that not everyone has curbside, though. You know what I mean? Like, my pet store just decided to do curbside for the pet food, and I was like almost in tears. I was like, thank you, you know, for doing so. But I did have to brave for I go to the pet store probably 2 to 3 times a week. That's how much I go through. I go through a lot. It's not really flat, is it? Let me look for a different one. What was I saying? So I'm literally in there all the time. And I had to go, I think, 3 times before the lockdown became my state decided to take it seriously enough that the pet store decided to do curbside. And I will tell you, right here and now, I'm not shopping at Michael's ever again. Michael's art store, never shopping at your store ever again, because you had it open in my town up until 2 days ago. Art store, people going, foot traffic walking inside, which means your employees were subjected, if they ever see this, subjected to risk of coronavirus for greed, because you wouldn't shut your store and pay your employees. You suck. And I will never give you my money again. There, said it, done, over it. Just like these companies, like, how could they do that? How could they do that? They don't care. That's how. They don't care for the lives of their consumers or their customers. I hate the word consumers. 3 times, and they never bothered to respond back to me, even. Not even a "we're so sorry," like completely out of touch and don't even use social media. Or do they just ignore their own clientele? I have no idea. But I'm done shopping with them. And I don't forgive or forget that kind of thing. So they'll never see a penny from me again. And I'm not saying I went and spent like a ton of money, but consistently over the years, I've always been one of their customers because yeah, not going to Michael's anymore. They're done. Profit over people. Okay, so that doesn't match at all. Only because it's really dark right there. I need not nutmeg brown. I need a brown, but not the brown I can find. Okay, why can I not find the other brown? It's not with the grays. It's not with the browns. Where is it? I must be losing my mind. No, that's gray. That's not it either. I literally cannot find a brown paint. And I don't understand that. It's not on my desk anywhere. No. Have I lost a bottle of paint? Is that possible? Maybe I lost it. Blue. I'm going to stand up. Maybe I can't see it because I'm not standing up. Hang on. Yep, that was it. Here it is right here. It is called Burnt Umber. That's what I wanted. You have maize meal in South Africa, which makes a super porridge, but you haven't used it for bread making. Yeah, we have maize. Basically, I think that's similar to like cornmeal here. I'm going to cough. Hold on. And no, I don't have, that I know of anyway, a virus, but I do have allergies. I'm a constant cougher because of allergies, and like now I have to be really careful because people are like, whoa, someone coughed, you know. You had to go into a pet store for litter. Yep. Yeah, Mandy, I getcha. Sending us coupons. Yeah. Hi, Natalie. Yeah, the Goodwill here was trying to, they were trying to make an arrangement where they could stay open as far as be able to go to the different collection sites and go ahead and you know, bring stuff in that had been donated, just so that it doesn't pile up and become a problem at all their different donation sites. But they here locally, they closed down to the public, so they didn't do that here, thankfully. It didn't take that sort of ridiculous tact. Yeah, this brown looks a lot better with this kind of combined with this red. It looks a lot better that way. Everything but essentials have been closed there for a week. Yeah, you have a decent governor is probably why. And there are heavy fines for businesses that don't comply. Yeah, we don't have any of that. We have the worst governor. We have the worst mayor. Not that I don't live in the city. I live in the just in the county. But our county commissioners all got together and they were like, we don't want to close because of the economy. And I'm like, if you don't close, then the millions of old people who live here and who provide for your economy and who come here to visit and have second homes are going to die because of you. Like, they just don't, you know. And I find it really rather ironic because most of them are that old too, you know, like they're all in their 70s. And those are the very people who are the most susceptible to it. And yet they're all worried about their profit. Anyway, I'm going to leave it red in the outer edge here. I just darkened it just like as it's coming out. So it's kind of like it's getting lighter. But I do feel like this is like an odd... I know I'm the one that's responsible for having drawn that angle. But it's an odd angle. So I'm going to take this piece of tape that I reuse all the time. Oh, and that's like really messy right there too. Why? We'll do it this side. This side's neater for some reason. Okay. Yeah, it looked good at the time I drew it, but that sometimes happens where you don't realize how off something is until later. There we go. Much better. Looks a lot less weird. Yeah, that it will never happen to them. Yep, exactly. Exactly. Yeah, there's a lot of people that are going to get a wake-up call on that sort of foolish belief. You're seeing it already. You're seeing it with people who are all of a sudden waking up to why you need to be quarantined, or that whole concept of like I get really frustrated about them calling people who get paid minimum wage at best essential. You know, like, again, store clerks and warehouse workers and stuff like that, because they're just using them as fodder to the disease. Like, they're not giving them protective gear, they're not taking care of them, they're not paying them a darn dime more than they absolutely have to. They're working on ridiculous hours, and for what? So that we can all drag this whole thing out for an extra week. If everyone just stopped going to work, just stop doing it, they would figure it out, and within a couple of days, they would have masks and gowns for everyone that needed them. Sometimes you have to put your foot down to power. If you don't, power will run roughshod over you. I know I'm a bit of an anarchist, but hey, if you're here, you probably knew that anyway. Hobby Lobby. Don't even get me started on Hobby Lobby. Just seriously. I just can't with that. Like, any artist should never, ever shop at Hobby Lobby. Ever. So, but that's just my opinion. All right. Let me double check my time. Yeah, I've only got like 5 more minutes pretty much. So I'm going to wrap it up here in that respect. Things that I am going to do, I will paint in a lot of sky. I will definitely decide what to do here. I think I'm going to let this just kind of fade out, but I may go ahead and you know, finish it out as, you know, like an actual building. And then who knows what I'll do from there. And who knows how these two things, like, you know, go together. I'll figure it out. I almost want to feel like these are like little train cars, or like, you know, they're stacked up shipping things or something. We'll see. No, they're not. UPS drivers are not being treated well. Amazon drivers are not being treated well. None of these people are doing things correctly. And again, if we don't insist that they do it, they're not going to. Like, we have to demand that they take care of us. We have to demand that they protect us, because they're not going to. And they're just going to happily sit on their, you know, expensive yachts out in the middle of, you know, the ocean somewhere and watch us die. Like, think about like movies that you've seen where the Lord or the, you know, general, depending on, you know, what age, you know, what year it's coming from, you know, they're up on the hill. And, you know, they're watching all their people die. And when it comes to the, you know, when they have to face the fact that they're losing the battle, they turn their horses and trot away, you know, but they leave all their dead and they leave all their peasants to deal with it. That's literally, we are like a feudal state. Every country is that way if it's a country that's not taking care of its people. Some countries are. Canada's doing like, you know, $2,000. They've already got socialized medicine. They've sent their people home. I mean, that's a different story. They have masks. Well, I'm hearing some news coming out of Canada that they don't necessarily have equipment that they need. But compare them to the U.S. and that's like night and day. The U.S. is just grinding us and killing us. So we need to make it stop. And only we can do it. They're not going to do it. We have to do it. But anyway, I'll stop now. Thank you so much for being here. And at least maybe it distracted you for an hour. If you've been, having some pent up feelings, maybe hearing me mouth off about them has, relieved a little anxiety. Who knows? But hopefully you made a little art and you at least got distracted for a little bit. And I will be hopefully be able to do more and more of these. I know, again, like I said, I stopped doing them, but mostly just that was to get my head straight, and I'm in a much better place mentally now. So yeah, I should be doing these more often. I'm not going to do a dedicated day or time or anything like that. But just hit that little, what is it? The little notification bell thing. I think it'll tell you when I go live. I really don't know. I've never clicked it for anyone else. So, but yeah, maybe that will tell you. If not, if you are on my Patreon, don't, because he will change the landscape of how we are treated, and we will all truly be counted and seen and cared for. So if you can, do that. If not, I understand. Thank you. I'll see you guys around the internets.